city slept even after midnight. Its long hallway echoed with the soft hum of medical machine, hurried footsteps, distance, imbalance, sirens, and whispered conversations between exhausted doctor and the worried families. Under the bright white light, people arrived, crying hope, fear, and sometimes heartbreaking goodbyes. Among all those people worked a hospital cleaner named the Samuel Carter. Samuel was the 58 years old. Every morning before sunrise, he tied on this faded blue uniform, pushed is the cleaning cart through the endless corridors and quietly began his work. Most people barely noticed him. Nurse nodded politely. Doctor rushed past without slowing down. Visitors stepped around his mop without looking at his face. To them, he was simply the man who cleaned the floors. But the Samuel believed something different. My job is not just cleaning hospitals, he often whispered to himself. It's helping people have no one less things to worry about. He smiled, frightened children. He held well elevator open for the elderly visitors. He picked up the drop photograph and returned forgotten blanket. No one paid him extra for kindness. It was simply who he was. Years earlier, Samuel had lost his wife, Margaret, to cancer in every same hospital during her final weeks. He had watched how one smiling nurse and one gentle cleaner had brought comfortable comfort during the darkest days of his life. After Margaret passed away, Samuel could not bear returning to his old construction job. Instead, he accepted work at hospital where she had spent her final days. He wanted to become the kind face that had once held him survive his own grief. For 12 years he quietly walked those halls, never expecting anyone to remember his name. One on the fifth floor, room 512 remained unusually quiet. Inside lay 82 years old Lenore Books. She had once been a respected literature teacher. Thousands of the students had passed through her classroom. Over 4 decades, she had inspired children to fall in love with books, poetry, and history. Her classroom had always been full of love. Now her hospital room was full of silence. Her disease had weakened her body. Pneumonia had stolen much of her strength. Doctor did everything they could, but they knew Eleanor's condition was the unlikely to improve. She rarely spoke, simply started through the window at the city skyline. Every morning, a nurse checked the visitor long. Every evening, it remained empty. No husband, no children, no grandchildren, no old friend, no flowers, no cards, just silence. One young nurse finally asked, "Gentle Mr. Brooks, would you like us to call someone?" Eleanor forced a tiny smile. "There is not any left." The nurse did not know how to answer. She quietly adjusted Eleanor's blanket and left the room. One rainy Thursday morning, Samuel pushed his declining car towards room 512. As always, he knocked softly. Housekeeping, no answer. He stepped inside. Hallway. Eleanor reminded ceased near the window, watching raindrops slide down the glass. Samuel quietly emptied the trash can, wiped the sink just before leaving. He noticed something unusual: an untouched breakfast tray. Every bit reminded exactly where it had been placed. "You did not like breakfast?" Samuel asked with a warm smile. Eleanor shrugged. "I was not angry." Samuel looked at the tray. "The pancakes are the terrible anyway." For the first time in a days, Eleanor smiled. "It's the last only a second, but Samuel noticed I have worked 12 years." He continued, "Trust me, if trust me, if they ever serve the pancakes again, refuse them immediately." A tiny laugh escaped Eleanor before she could stop herself. "You should not insult hospital food." Samuel grinned. Clean the kitchen floors. "I know secrets." Eleanor laughed a little louder. When Samuel left the room, he realized something surprising. It had been the first genuine laugh she had in months. The next morning, Samuel returns. "This is a carrot town. Paper cups. I brought coffee." Eleanor looked confused. "I did not ask for coffee." "I know," Samuel replied. "I wanted some company while I drank mine." She hesitated, then accepted the cup. For 5 minutes, neither of them talked much. They simply watched people walking through the hospital courtyard. Belongs something silence shared with another person feels less lonely than silence face alone. Over the following week, Samuel adjusts his cleaning schedule, not because anyone asked him to, because room 512 had. Other morning they argued playful about old movie. Samuel confused, he had never understood poetry. Eleanor promised to change that before he retired. She began recommending novels. He brought crossword puzzles. She corrected his the vocabulary. He trusted her for being a strict teacher even in a hospital bed. Little by little, room 512 transformed. It's no longer felt like a place where someone waited to die. It became a place where two strangers remembered how important it was simply to be seen. The nurses could not help noticing Mr. Brooks was the eating again. She smiled more often. She asked for fresh flowers to brighten the window sill. One afternoon, a young doctor quietly pulled Samuel aside. I don't what you doing, he admitted, but keeping doing it. Samuel looked confused. I am just talking to her. The doctor smiled. Some things made medicine tears the body. He glanced towards Elidor room. Friendship tears the soul. Samuel stood silently for a moment before returning to his work. He had never imagined that pushing a mop down a hospital corridor would lead him to become the most important visitor to someone's life. Neither he nor El- Eleanor knew that neither unlikely friendship was about the uncovered secret, regret, and a promise that could change them both ever. Part 2, their growing friendship and hidden past. As the day turns into weeks, Samuel visits the room 512, become part of the hospital every morning just after finishing the easiest hallway. He would stop outside Elephant room, straighten his uniform, and the knock twice. Permission to enter. Eleanor would smile from her bed. Only if only have brought better jokes than yesterday. Samuel laughed. I have been practicing all night. Their conversation grew longer. Sometimes they talk about books. Eleanor spoke with the patience of a teacher who had spent a life introducing young minds to great stories. She could recite lines from the classic novels without looking at a page, and every chord seems to cry a lesson about courage, hope, or forgiveness. Samuel admitted he had never finished many books. I always work long hours, he said. By the time I got home, I wanted to retire to read. So Eleanor replied with a playful smile, we are going to fix that. The next day, he handed him and the old paper back from the small bookshelf beside her bed. It changed my life, she said. Maybe it will change your. Samuel accepted it carefully as if it were something priceless. That evening, after returning to his small apartment, he opened the book. For the first time in years, he said a walk long after midnight reading much chapter. The following morning, he could not wait to tell Eleanor what he thought. He listened like a proud teacher, hearing our favorite student answer a difficult question. The nurse began testing Samuel. The room 5-1 again won then chalked. Samuel smiled. I have been assigned homework. Even the doctor noticed how different Eleanor had become. He asked the newspaper again. She requested from the clothes instead of hospital grow. Whenever possible, she never started walking short distance with her physical therapist. One afternoon, the therapist whispered to the Samuel in the hallway, I have been seeing her fight this hard since she was admitted. Samuel empty smile. Something people don't understand a medicine along. Sometimes they find it's a knowing is wearing to see tomorrow.